Greetings, weary wanderer, and welcome back to Lonely TTRPG, the solo actual play and review podcast. Now, this is a bit of a special episode. We have been going for 1 year now. That's right, this is our year anniversary. So I thought it might be fun to travel all the way back to a year ago and relook that first game that we reviewed, Surveyors, by yours truly. Surveyors is a fun GM-less TTRPG designed for 1 to 4 players. All it requires is a pen, paper, D4, and D6. A powerful wizard has created a pocket dimension, but they aren't quite sure what they have made. The new land must be surveyed, but by whom? You play as a band of homunculi created by the wizard and set loose on the new world to explore and gather resources. So in Surveyors, you have 4 different homunculi that you can use. You have scouts, which are at home in the wild and give you advantage on your danger rolls. You have the scrounger, crafty and resourceful, and they have advantage on resource rolls. The soldier is strong and ready and gives advantage on attack rolls. And the state's homunculus is poised and polite, giving advantage on negotiate rolls. To start off, you need to determine the size of your world, and this is going to be a grid. You can either use a grid, a hex pattern, whatever you want, but grid is the easiest. Next, you're going to roll 4d4 to determine the composition of your party, with 1 being scout, 2 being soldier, 3 being scrounger, and 4 being state's homunculus. Finally, you're going to choose the starting location for your party. When you enter a tile for the first time, you're going to roll a d6 on the terrain table to determine the environment. If you roll a 1, you get a desert, 2 is a forest, 3 is a mountain, 4 are some plains, 5 is a city, and if you roll a 6, you're going to re-roll the dice and double the size of it. After determining terrain or entering a tile that still has danger, you're going to roll on the terrain danger table. If you succeed in your roll, you may choose to avoid an obstacle that turn. You may make this choice after rolling on the obstacle table. So basically what you're going to do is when you hit a new piece of terrain or terrain where you have avoided danger before, you're going to roll on the danger table to see if you can spot the danger. And the table below is going to give you the ratings that you need to hit in order to spot it. Failing your roll means you have to complete the obstacle. For your obstacle table, that's another D6. And it is going to be some type of either attack, negotiate, or resource issue. But once you have avoided or completed the obstacle, you may move your homunculi to any adjacent tile and repeat the process. If you move back to a previously explored tile that has not been cleared of danger, re-roll your danger. When exploring, obstacles and danger are ever present. To attempt to find danger or overcome an obstacle, roll a d6 per homunculus in the party. If a class gives you advantage on that roll, you're going to roll an additional d6 for each advantage giving. After rolling your dice pool, count the number of dice that are equal to or greater than the danger or challenge rating listed on the table. If you have 0 to 1 successes, then you fail and lose a homunculus. 2 successes, you fail and are forced to flee the tile. 3 successes, you succeed. And 4 or more successes, you succeed and earn an alchemical resource. The tile has no more danger. Again, basically with this, you're going to roll your d6 for each homunculus. So you're going to be rolling a minimum of 4 unless you've already lost a homunculus. And if you have advantage, you're going to add that as well. So depending on your party composition, you could be rolling up to 5, 6, 7 dice. Now, the ultimate goal is to get 4 or more successes on that roll, because not only does that succeed in the challenge, it also gives you alchemical resources, and it means that that tile is now clear for the remainder of the game. Now, alchemical resources are the key currency of the world. That's your meta currency. You can spend an alchemical resource to automatically overcome an obstacle or gain a new homunculus up to a maximum of 4. Roll 1d4 to determine the new homunculus's class. If your party drops to 2 homunculi and you are out of alchemical resources, you may attempt to return to the start point to be teleported back to the wizard tower. The game ends when you return to the tower, either with a completed map or whatever information you're able to gather. So with that, we're going to go ahead and dive on into our gameplay. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to determine our party composition. So we got 1, 2, 2, 2. So a scout and 3 soldiers. And starting off in the upper left corner of our map, let us go ahead and see what type of terrain we have landed in. 5. So that is going to be a city. So right off the rip, our homunculus party lands in this new world, and they find themselves staring at the streets of this wondrous city. And how dangerous are these streets? Are we able to spot the danger in these streets? As I only have 1 scout, I only get to roll 5d6. And that is 3, 6, 5, 3, 2. A city danger rating is 5. So that is only 2 successes. That is a failure. All right, so as we land in the city, we are unable to determine any danger around us. We seem to be a little naive in that respect. So let's see what our obstacle is. And we got a 4, which is hostile negotiations. It would appear that the residents of this city do not appreciate people just randomly appearing within it. So an angry mob forms, but it's not a bloodthirsty mob just yet. They are yelling and screaming at us, and we're going to attempt to talk our way out of it. But just like I only have 1 scout to help me out with danger rolls, I do not have any states homunculus, so this will be a straight 4d6, 1 for each homunculi. But because this was a hostile negotiation, I needed to beat a 5, and I only got 1 dice that beat that 5. So it would appear that one of my soldiers stepped forward aggressively at this crowd as they were yelling and screaming at us, and the soldier reached for his belt, causing the crowd to react, and they swarmed on top of the party. They grabbed this soldier and bore him to the ground, beating and kicking at him. The other 3 were able to successfully run away. They ran away from the city to the south, but they did lose that 1 soldier in the process. So as we flee to the south, let's see what we are coming up against. And we have a forest. So we have run into a forest just to the south of the city. And now we need to attempt to find the danger in this forest, which is going to be even more difficult as I am a homunculi or a homunculus short. So that's only 4d6 I get to roll for that. However, I got 5, 5, 6, which easily beats my danger rating of 4 for the forest. So luckily I am able to spot what the issue is. However, let us see what the particular obstacle is. That is a 4, which is another hostile negotiation. So it seems like the crowd is continuing to chase after us into the forest. Luckily, we are able to keep an eye on them. So we're going to go ahead and avoid this danger. We're just going to find a spot in the forest to hide. Luckily, because of how well we spotted the danger, we were able to pick up an alchemical resource. And as we're hiding, we're going to go ahead and use that resource to create another homunculus, because after all, we do not want to be rolling with only 3 of us. And we have created another scout. So that should be nice. That should help out a lot with these danger rolls, having 2 scouts. And at this time, I think we're going to continue on south. Just continue on in a straight line distance. And we rolled a 1 for the new terrain, which is deserts. So leaving the forest, it quickly gives way into a desert. So let us see what type of threat we have in this desert. And I get to roll 66 for spotting the danger, as I have 2 scouts. Deserts have a danger rating of 3, and I have 3 successes. I have a 3, 3, 4. So I am able to successfully spot the danger. Let's see what it would have been. and that is a bandit attack. So I have successfully spotted an ambush, and we are going to continue to sidestep that ambush. After all, we're still a little shaken up by being chased out of the city and being chased through the forest. And while we were able to hide and throw the chasing villagers off our back, we are not particularly in the... Actually, I was going to say we're not particularly in the mood. However, we do have 2 soldiers with us, and these soldiers are probably looking to prove themselves, especially after their associate got them chased out of the city and was lost. So we're going to let the dice decide this argument. Even, we will attempt to clear out this ambush. Odd, we will bypass the ambush. And that is a 1. That is a bypass. The scouts went out, and they say that it is more important to keep moving at this particular moment. So we will continue on to the south, where we come across another forest. An interesting little biome we seem to be having here as we come across another forest. But let us see if we spot the danger in this forest. And we do. Once again, we spot the danger with 3 successes. And this particular danger was a friendly negotiation. So I think that we're actually going to meet this one. I think we're going to meet this one because friendly negotiations have a relatively easy challenge rating. It's one of those, as we cross through the desert and we enter this new forest, we come across a crossroads, and there seems to be a merchant set up at this crossroad, and they're eager for conversation and to talk with the new people. So we will do our negotiation, which will be 4d6 because, again, we don't have anybody to aid in that. And hopefully we have some friendly banter. And we do. That is 4 successes out of that. All right. Our danger rating was a 2, and we got 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we had some lovely conversation and banter. And in addition to all of that, we were able to successfully clear out any threat that this area would hold. And we're going to symbolize that by putting a little green check mark in the upper left-hand corner just to help us keep track, because we have only cleared 1 out of 4 tiles. So we have 1 tile safe. And during that banter, the merchant was able to part with some alchemical resource for us. So we do have a little bit of something that we can fall back on now, which is good. Continuing on to the south, we find ourselves with another city. Hopefully the residents here are nicer than their neighbors to the north. So rolling to see if we spot danger. We do not. We do not at all. We fail. We did not get a single success on this. So not only do we fail, we are going to lose a homunculus. But we will determine that loss here in just a second. Let's see what our challenge is. There are some issues with some common resources. So it would appear that as we were being chased through the wilderness, we were unable to adequately track and manage our resources, causing one of our homunculi to die of hunger and thirst. So let's see which one we lost, and that is going to be another soldier. So we have lost another soldier, and that leaves us with only 3 homunculus to attempt the resource challenge. So hopefully we don't do too bad on this. So that's going to be 3d6. And we have to beat a 3. Oh, man, and we got really lucky. We got 5, 3, 3. So we did get all of our successes. So we were able to track down some more resources, some more common resources. We were able to restock, and we are going to go ahead and use our alchemical resource to create a new homunculi. And this time we got ourselves a state homunculi. So once again, our party is back up to full strength, and we will continue on to the south to the southern border of this world. And let's see what we have here. And we rolled a 5, which is another city. So we will say that this city just continues to expand to the south. This is an actual large city. And as we are exploring this city, do we spot any danger? We do not spot the danger. However, we did have 2 successes, so we at least do not lose any more homunculi due to that danger. So let us see what our issue is. Hostile negotiations. Well, we picked up that state homunculi just in time, which is going to give us 5d6 on this roll, as another angry mob seems to be forming. These these townsfolk do not seem to like homunculi. And luckily, we rolled 3 6s, so our state's homunculus was able to placate the crowd. They still don't like us, but we were able to placate the crowd, and they're not trying to attack us, which is a good thing. And that is going to allow us to peacefully leave and travel 1 column to the east. And what do we find just outside this city? Another forest. And are we able to spot the danger of the forest? Let's see, 466 with a danger rating of 4. So yes, we are able to successfully spot the danger here. What is our obstacle? That is going to be another common resource problem. So as we leave the city, it would seem that we weren't able to do any type of trading or anything. Makes sense. The crowd did not like us there. So we are running low on our resources. Luckily, this should be a relatively easy thing to accomplish. So we are going to attempt to fix our resource problem with the homunculi that we have. And our challenge rating was 3. We got 3, 5, 2, 2. So that is a failure. We were unable to locate any resources, but luckily we did not lose anybody in the attempt. So turning back to the north, we find ourselves in another desert. This world really likes to put deserts right next to forests, which is highly amusing. So let us see if we spot the dangers of the desert. And we do. We needed to beat a 3. We got 4, 5, 3, and 3. That is 4 successes. So not only do we spot the danger, as we were scouting for it, we did stumble across some alchemical resource. And what is our danger going to be? What is our obstacle going to be here? It is going to be a resource problem, and it is going to be alchemical. So there seems to be a bit of a disturbance in the nature of, and the stability of the construction of this desert, in the magical stability, which would require some alchemical resource in order to correct. Unfortunately, my party is not set up well to accomplish this mission. We're going to be hard pressed just to fail. So we're going to go ahead and carefully sidestep these distortions in the air as we continue our way to the north, where we find the desert continues to grow and grow. And will we spot the danger in this new portion of the desert? And we do handily with 4 successes. So luckily that is another alchemical resource that we have discovered while attempting to locate the danger. But what is our particular obstacle here to see if it is worth attempting? Hostile negotiations. It seems to me that there is an oasis in this desert, but the locals are fiercely protective of it, to the point of fear and anger being directed at outsiders. So instead of risking ourselves on that, we're just gonna go ahead and continue on our merry little way, moving once again to the north. And we finally get a little change in scenery as the desert gives way to some plains. Now, plains are nice because they are wide open spaces and it is easier to see threats. And I got 5 successes in that. So that is one more alchemical resource that we discovered while scouting and learning about our threat, which our potential threat here is another alchemical issue. So we seem to have some more disturbance in the magical matrixy that is causing issues with the plane stability. So I think what I'm going to do, because I'm sitting on 3 of them, I'm going to go ahead and burn one of my alchemical resources and bring me down to 2. That way I can stabilize this region and also mark it cleared, because I am tired of not having safe spaces to come back to. So we have stabilized the magical matrices that are holding this plane together, and we continue along our merry little way where we come across another city. So the question right now is, because we're only one square to the south and east of where that original city we came to was. So do we think this is a continuation? I don't know. I don't know if we think that. I think that will depend a little bit on what the northern boundary square is. But whatever the case is, these northern cities are hazardous to our health. We did not get any success on our danger roll, which means that we are going to lose a homunculus. Amusingly enough, our challenge is a friendly negotiation. So we're going to say that our state homunculus, when crossing through the plains, was not paying enough attention. The alchemical resources took a little bit of time to work. They were not necessarily watching where they were going, and they got corrupted. And this corruption hurt them to the point where, as we walked into this city, they fell over and died. This is going to lead to somebody running over and coming to check on us and see what had happened, starting off our friendly negotiations. And it definitely hurts losing the state homunculus for a negotiate roll. So that drops us down to 3d6. The best we can do is just succeed. And we don't even do that. We only got 1 success. That is a failure with the loss of another homunculus, with the loss of our last soldier. As this person came running over, apparently the soldier was a little jumpy, a little skittish. Is understandable considering the fact that just to the north they were run out of town, and we lost a homunculi. In the cities to the south, things did not go well. Immediately walking into this city, the state homunculi fell over dead. And so as some of these concerned citizens come running over, the soldier's going to jump up in a very aggressive stance, which is going to startle everybody and cause a fight in which the 2 scouts are able to get away, but the soldier is not. And that puts us in a very precarious position because we only have 2 homunculi as we run into the mountains to the north. We got ourselves some northern mountains here. So before we can even attempt to get some new homunculi, we have to make sure that we can spot the danger of the mountains. Luckily, it is 2 scouts, so that is 4d6. I'm not rolling this at too big of a disadvantage. I'm just not rolling at an advantage. And oh, how the dice gods do not love me tonight. So mountains, I have to meet or beat a 4. I only got 1 4. So one of our scouts, when attempting to climb one of the paths, injured themselves and fell and was lost in the mountain passes. This means that regardless of whatever this challenge is, I will not be able to do it with just my rolls. And this is another alchemical problem. So I'm going to have to burn an alchemical resource in order to not have all my homunculi die. The bright side is the mountains are now safe. The downside is my party is looking really weak. I only have one alchemical resource left. After stabilizing the mountains, I'm going to burn that last resource to try and help myself out a little bit. I got a scrounger for this one. That guy would have been real handy on some of the stuff. But I am in a tight spot with only 2 homunculi and no alchemical resources. So luckily, my starting point is only 1 square to the west. So we're going to return to that initial city. And we're going to attempt to spot our danger there. We do not spot our danger. In fact, we lose another homunculi as we come in. We got no successes on that. And of course, our starting scout, who managed to survive everything thus far, is the one who we lose. It doesn't even matter what our challenge is. We're actually going to skip the challenge. The scrounger is going to dive into the teleporter and return back to the wizard tower with our partially completed map. And unfortunately, nothing to show for it, and no real intel outside of the map because they are the newest one. They know only the mountains and running through that city. But that is Surveyors by the Black Dragon Dungeon Company, yours truly. So I'm glad I still had fun with that game. Like I said, this was the first game that I played on the channel. It was really the first solo game that I've played. So seeing that it holds up some 40 games and 1 year later makes me feel good. It makes me feel good. It was definitely a fun game. Definitely a fun world building tool. Just randomly creating these spots and then seeing what type of challenges you could come up with, what type of challenges you were going to run up against, and how it ends up creating a world. It was very amusing and interesting that anytime my homunculi entered a city, I lost one of them, and I lost them to like the population. So that could have some potential interesting ramifications if I were to take this and make a story with it, because now you have very closed, almost xenophobic cities, all because of some dice. And I thoroughly enjoy rolling dice to help determine world building and plots and things like that. It is highly entertaining to me. It is a challenge that I enjoy, as you have to think about how these things kind of fit in and all place together. And that was kind of the reason why I wrote Surveyors, was for that feeling. And again, like I said, I'm really glad that it holds up. If you enjoyed it and you want to pick it up, A, it's a great way to support the podcast. B, you can find it on DriveThruRPG or itch.io for the low price of $3. Actually, I think $2.99. So go check those out. I will have the links in the show notes. And if you act fast, as in before March 30th of 2023, you can pick this up with the Solo But Not Alone 3 bundle, which, once again, a great project. All the proceeds from that bundle go to support the Jasper Foundation, which helps with suicide education and raising awareness for suicide using games. And again, great organization. Solo But Not Alone is the reason why we started this podcast in the first place. And because I picked up Solo But Not Alone 2 last year and had all these solo games that I needed something to do with. And I'm just really pleased to be a part of it this year. So if you act fast, you can pick it up as part of that bundle, along with 149 other solo games, all for $10. Or you can pick it up normally for $2.99 at either of the links provided below. but I have been Steel Stash. Thank you for joining me on this little reminiscing. And remember, I must ask y'all to stay awesome. This has been a Black Dragon Dungeon Company production. Thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. If you want to help us grow, make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button and go ahead and leave us a comment down below and share this with your friends. Other ways you can help support the show is by checking out some of our products over on itch.io or DriveThruRPGs. In addition, you can join our Patreon and get early release access and a chance to ask us any questions that you have. If you want to reach out to us on social media, you can find us on Twitter at BDDC_pod, or you can email us at blackdragondungeoncompany@gmail.com. Once again, thanks for watching.